I'm Owen Bigland. This is the Inside Edge video blog. Okay, we're now well into our busiest time of year for real estate, which is our spring market. So let me just, every year at this time, I do kind of a recap of where the market is, and if you're thinking of selling your home, how to properly sell your home in the current conditions that we're in, which is generally for condos downtown, a balanced market still, teetering on the low side of a balanced market. But of course, if it's a detached home, it's in a buyer's market. If it's a luxury condo, it's also in a buyer's market. And I want to give you a few examples of a couple of things that I'm seeing on the MLS right now, which I have to shake my head at, and I want people to avoid at all costs, because they're just a marketing ploy here that you don't want to get involved in. So just to give you an example here now, I'm out every single week doing market evaluations and interviewing as listing realtors on homes. And, I've built my reputation on, letting the facts speak. I bring up my marketing presentation out. I show them the recent comps that have sold in the building and also in the area, so where prices are at. And then, of course, I will give them a suggestion on where we should list and why. And, just to recap, if someone has, in this market right now, let's say it's a downtown condo, a 1 or 2 bedroom priced under 1.2. Now, if this unit is a turnkey unit, maybe it's a younger building, so the unit is move-in ready, nice finishings, or even if it's a little bit older and it's had a full reno, and it's a good strata, good location, quiet, has a nice outdoor balcony, then no harm in listing a little bit higher. I feel I owe that to my clients, to put it up a little bit above, maybe where we should be, but only because there is not really any direct competition for this unit. And it's a turnkey unit, ready to move in. Because oftentimes, a lot of the time, you can catch the right buyer and it gives you a little more room to negotiate at that higher price. Oftentimes, people have been waiting on some of these good buildings. Nothing is listed in there. They've been waiting for something to hit, especially if it's been renoed or it's in move-in condition. They maybe work just down the street and they want to be in that building, and it's a prime location, quiet unit. Always best to price a little bit with a little bit extra room in there to see if you can get that price you want and get that little bit extra money if you can catch the right buyer. And a lot of times it happens. Now, if it doesn't, in the first couple of weeks, the market's going to tell you a story. And in that case, we can reduce it a little bit down and go from there. But at least we tried. And I always want to do that for my clients. Now, it's a little different though, when maybe the unit isn't quite as prime. Maybe it does need a full reno. Maybe it's a little bit busier street. Maybe the strata's got some things coming up. It's 20, 25 years old, and there's a lot of things that are going to need to be done, windows and elevators, etc. In that case, in this market, you've got to be priced right. And I still see people, realtors will kind of list it whatever you want. And, there are a lot of realtors that, hey, if you want to list it 100 grand more than where it should be, go ahead. But it's a mistake, because it's just going to sit. And it's going to sit. And meanwhile, especially when you've got a market right now that's kind of treading water, or maybe even treading a little lower every month, you want to get ahead of that. Price it right. If you're out in no man's land trying to get a price that you're trying to get a year ago, it's probably not going to happen. It's not going to happen, especially on these units that need renos and maybe aren't the most grade A unit. They're still very sellable. I'm selling them all the time. But you've got to be priced right for those. And if you don't want to be, then just wait, take it off the market and wait for the next cycle. And it'll happen. I don't know whether it'll be next year or the year after. It could come this fall. But for now, you've got to be priced right in this market, unless, of course, as I say, you've got a bit of a special unit, move-in ready, renoed, prime location, whatever. So I still see a lot of units that are not dog units, but they need renos and things that they're trying to get last year's prices on, and they're just going to follow it down the market. Best to get ahead of it. A couple other things I want to point out here, what I want to talk about, what I want people to avoid. I do a lot of advertising with the Real Estate Weekly, print in Richmond, Vancouver. So every week, being an advertiser in there, they send me their market wire update, and it will give you the top 5 viewed properties on the Real Estate Weekly site, how many hits went to the listing. Sometimes I have some of my listings in there, the odd time, few times a year, but for the most part, they've got thousands of listings in there. The top 5 might be a detached house or a couple of condos or whatever. But for the last 3 weeks or 2 weeks, they've had a detached house in East Vancouver. I'm not going to give you the address. And it didn't surprise me that this was the most viewed property on Real Estate Weekly for the last 2 weeks, because it is priced at $999. Now, I also had several people text me about this, wanting to know what's the story with this house. So I took a quick look at it. So this is what we call a price it low, watch it grow strategy. This house is worth easily 1.25 to 1.3 all day, but they've listed it at $999 and they're doing holdbacks. Now, they're looking at offers. In this case, they were looking at offers the following Wednesday. Now, the people that texted me, I told them right away that this house is meant to try and create an artificial bidding war. Artificial meaning that up until a year ago, and for the last 4 years, if you're watching my blog here, everything I was selling pretty much was getting into a legitimate bidding war. You would price the home right, in maybe very close to the last comp, maybe even a little more, 5% above the last comp, depending on when it sold. Show it for a week, run some open houses, leave some time for a pre-inspection if you want, and then look at offers the following Tuesday or Wednesday and just let the offers flow in. I was blogging about it. I was getting anywhere from 3 or 4 all the way up to 20 offers on a property. But times have changed. This is not that market anymore. So with this house in East Vancouver, they're trying to create an artificial bidding war, pricing it at $999 when they're not going to sell it anywhere near that. Now, this is a huge mistake, and I want people to just avoid these because they never sell. Never. Not in this market. I told everyone that texted me, I said, you watch. Next Wednesday will come and go. That home will be terminated and then relisted the next day at 1.3 or 1.350. You watch. Don't waste your time with it. Because they're going to get offers at $999. There are some people that aren't all that experienced. They're new to the market. They're thinking, gee, that seems like a pretty good house for $999. Taxed assessed at 1.2, 1.3. They'll give you an offer. They'll give you a full ask offer, or they'll get another offer at $1,050,000. They'll get 2 or 3 offers, maybe 4 at that price. But they will never get up anywhere near to where they are expecting or where the seller will accept something, which is around 1.3 probably. So what happened was exactly the way that I was telling the people that got in touch with me. I don't know how many offers they got, 2, 3, but whatever it wasn't enough to get it up to where they needed. The house was terminated. 2 days later, it went back on at $1,325,000. So my advice to people is do not get into these artificial bidding wars. You'll never win on these things, because think about it. In most cases, 99% of the time right now, it just gets relisted at a higher price because they can't get the offers where they need. They need to get to where they want on a $999 ask, they need 15 to 20 offers. You're not getting that in this current market. That would have been tough to get a year ago. So you can't really win. You're wasting your time writing the offer at $1,001,000 because they're just going to, ignore it. Or let's say by chance you do end up getting it by offering $1,250,000 or $1,225,000, you really go for it. But the buyer's remorse on those type of deals, on these artificial bidding wars, is huge. And there's probably a 50-50 chance that the buyer will complete on it. You'll get buyer's remorse and think, well, gee, I wonder what the second best offer was. I offered $200K over asking. Maybe I paid too much. I'm not going to remove subjects. So for the sellers that try this trick, if your realtor's telling you to do that, I think you're wasting your time. And the optics on it are terrible as well, because now all realtors have access to the history. They can see that you tried it at $999 for a week and a half, terminated it, and then relisted it back. Had it at 1.3, dropped it to $999. Now it's back up to 1.3. So you're all over the road with this. And remember, realtors have access to all this. They can see what you've done in the past. The other one I want to point out too, which is even worse than this, I've seen several now that have been on the MLS as auctions. They're going to auction the house off. So there's a condo, decent condo, not a great building in Yaletown. I'm not a big fan of the building. It's 17 years old. Decent enough unit, not a great floor plan though. It's been listed for $2.2 million forever. Been like 120 days on market. Then they reduced it down to 2.1. Then they reduced it down to $2,050,000. Then fired the realtor, got a new realtor who came at them with a new angle. Let's auction the house. We're going to list it at $1 million even. Property's worth 1.8 for sure. It was overpriced at 2.2, but it's worth 1.8. I wouldn't buy it at 1.8 because I think there's better stuff out there at 1.8, to be honest, than this thing. But hey, somebody might pay 1.8 for it. I wouldn't. But we'll list it at $1 million, and we're going to do a fake auction, because that's what this is. It's a fake auction. They're going to do a live internet auction 3 weeks from now. Bids start at $1 million with the asking price. Now, in the agent's comments, which the general public doesn't have access to, there's some disclaimers in here. So the seller reserves the right to look at market offers, so real offers, anytime between now and the auction date. The auction is a reserve auction, meaning that they have a reserve price on that. So they're not going to sell it at $1 million or $1.1 million or a 2 or 3 or $1.4 million or $1.5 million. What their reserve is, we don't know, but it's probably something around 1.9 million or something, let's call it. So double what their original list price is here. The seller also has the right to accept, reject all offers, cancel the auction, postpone, change date and time of auction at any time. So, folks, this is like the price it low and watch it grow thing, but in my situation, this is, in my opinion, this is even a bigger waste of time. Don't fall for these fake auction things. They're not going to sell the home at $1 million. They're not going to sell it at $1.2 million or $1.3 million or $1.4 million. And in this market, anyone that would list this as an auction at $1 million, you're getting desperate. The seller's looking for any angle you can get, but you're not going to do it with this. This isn't the market. The $2 million condo market is in a buyer's market right now. People are on the sidelines. Not much is selling unless you're priced aggressively. And if you're not willing to price aggressively in this market, then my advice would be to just take it off the market. Stay in it, live in it, enjoy it. Wait for the next cycle. When that is, I don't know, but it will be around the corner. Guaranteed. But using these type of things, this auction system, where you start the bidding at $1 million, it's a waste of time. So the same thing, this auction hasn't hit yet. It's not till the end of the month, but it'll be the exact same thing here. That auction date will come and go. The listing will be terminated the next day and then relisted at $1,999,000 or $1,009,000. We'll see how motivated the seller is at that time after he's gone through this 1 month auction process. But my advice to people would be avoid these things. Just get away from them. You can't win on these things. They're either going to laugh at your offer, and these guys with this auction, I can just imagine with this thing. I should log into this thing just to see if they show where the prices are. They're going to come in at $1,050,000, $1,001,000, $1,002,000. It might get up to $1,003,000 or $1,004,000, and then it'll peter out and die. That's kind of how maybe someone could follow this auction, because there's a few of them online on the MLS right now. Let me know where they go. But they're not going to go anywhere. They're never going to get to where they need this, which is going to be, I don't know, 1.8, 1.9, something like that. This isn't the market for that. You know, you could maybe pull something like this off a year ago or spring of 2017 when I was getting 15 and 20 offers on my properly priced units. If you lowballed the price back 18 months ago, geez, you could get 40 or 50 offers, I bet. But that's not happening right now, especially not in this price range. So these price it low, watch it grow, these artificial bidding wars, stay away from. You can't win. You're either going to laugh your offer away or if you do get the successful offer, your buyer's remorse is going to be huge on these. Huge, because it's not a real bidding war. It's an artificial one. So if you do something like this, always put subjects on there too in your offer, so you got some time to think it over. But don't fall for these. There's better units too than these ones out there that you don't have to rely on a fake auction for. I'm Owen Bigland. As always, thanks for watching. If you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, please do. Also, I'm starting to gain quite a bit of new followers on Twitter. I'm not active on Twitter. I don't engage people on Twitter. I'm not social that way. But I do post some interesting articles on the Vancouver market and what's going on with development and that kind of thing. See you next week.